This young lady hails from Southern California, and I'm just excited about having her back on the call today. She's a mother. She's also a fun person to be around. She loves exercising. I guess her favorite person in the world to hang out with. Don't get these two together in one room. It's like stereo. Jen Olsen, I tell you, and Heather Peery together is nothing but fun, fun, fun till Daddy takes the T-bird away. The Beach Boys, 1965. That's right. Anyway, can we give a warm welcome to none other than the great Miss Heather Peery?
Morning, family. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I see some pink out there and I see some hearts. Yay. Way to go for wearing it. I love Valentine's Day. You can have fun with it however you want to do it. But happy Valentine's Day. Hope everyone today and every day feels loved and appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, so much for the introduction. Thank you for asking me to be on this call. We so appreciate you and everything that you do. I know myself and a lot of us have really grown and had some shifts and mind shifts from these calls, just from being on them and listening to them consistently. So thank you so much for all that you do, just for how long you've been in the industry and just being a true legend and just doing this for us, for a lot of us that are new to this and just your coaching. So thank you so much. So hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today, we're going to talk about a subject. Well, you guys remember last week, right? So hopefully we are still practicing that. We talked about last week the law of familiarity. So hopefully you guys have been putting into practice not being familiar with the regular things, right? Going outside, being able to get in your car and just not being familiar, right, with our leadership and the things that we have with this business or with our family, and just being intentional about practicing that. So that was a really good reminder for me as well. And just, I'm always thinking of that some part of my day to just, instead of falling into that, oh, this is just what I do, and just, you know, being grateful. And today we're going to talk about a subject that really hit me for 2023. We've heard about this so many times, this word that I'm going to say. We hear it all the time. It's talked about. It's definitely a leadership topic. But for some reason, the middle of last year and the end, and especially now, it just really clicked about, this is what I need to do. And I need to intentionally try to do this and work at this, and then really seeing that this is actually the magic, if there's any, the magic for this business and the magic for all the different things we do in life. And it's called consistency. Now, I don't know what comes in your mind when you hear consistency, but since it's a leadership call, let's just blow this subject out of the water, okay? Let's just be 100% real, 100% upfront. Guess what? These are the things they don't tell you. Consistency is boring, okay? It's necessary, but it's boring. And since we're all leaders here and we hear consistency, but we need to know that it's necessary, it's important, but you know what? It can be boring. So we hear stories about people that are consistent. We might be inspired by a story of, you know, something we hear at an event, or maybe we hear something on YouTube and we're so inspired. We're inspired by people that are consistent. And then when we hear that story, we're ready to go. We're like, man, all that consistency, like I want what they have. I want those results. We're ready to go, inspired, pumped up. And then it's our turn, and then we're good. But a couple days go by, then a couple weeks go by, and it's like, oh, okay, I want what I heard in that story. I want those results. But when you really get into it, it's what Darren Hardy says, mastering the mundane, right? So I don't know what kind of relationship you have with consistency, or what you think of that, or maybe you have a person in mind that's super consistent and they just seem like rock solid, that nothing gets by them, that you just really want to attain to be that person. But you know, that's something that we don't talk often enough about, is that it's necessary, but it can be boring. You know, it takes time to get to where we need to get to. And this message is just enough, like every message is just enough for me as it is for you guys. So, you know, I don't know how long it will take to get to where you want to be or to see what you want to see. But maybe that's why we hear people say, enjoy the journey, right? Because that consistency takes time, takes effort, and sometimes it's hard, but we forget to enjoy that journey. So, even God has a process for us to go through, or they say, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. And sometimes we hear that, but we just kind of in one ear and out the other. And we're so quick to wanting to get that result. We want to see the result, right? But we forget that in that journey of becoming, there is a journey, and that is something that we can't ignore, because we're becoming that person. We're in the middle of that hard thing of being consistent. And how else can we relate to people unless we go through the journey of consistency, go through it being difficult, go through it being hard, going through everything it needs to go through, so that you can relate to others and share, like, yeah, I know how difficult this is, but it's worth it. And these are the results I got after this amount of time. I know that for me, we hear so much and we hear so much info, but when we really get down to it, then that's when things become real. It's like, oh, consistency, like, whoa, this is something I got to do day in, day out, whether I feel like it or not. And that's what I'm in the middle of learning with other subjects in life. There's some things that I'm really consistent at and I can do whether I feel like it or not. But then there's other subjects in my life where I'm really learning to do this, like whether you feel like it or whether you're not, whether it's fun or whether it's not. So how about things like, what if you're trying to heal emotionally? There are things that we need to be consistent at that are good for us to get to the other side of that, right? Some certain issue that you're working on, we need to consistently do the things that will help us. So let's say if it's an emotional hurt or something that's been with you for a long time, maybe you need to consistently go to therapy. Maybe we need to consistently read books on a certain subject. Like maybe we're trying to change our thoughts. We're trying to have more power thoughts, more thoughts that give life. Maybe we need to consistently read books about that subject, consistently listen to audiobooks about it, consistently be on leaderships like this for it to change. But it needs to be consistent for you to see progress, to see a change, right? Maybe you got to forgive someone. You got to make those steps consistently to forgive that person so that you could even get there. Okay. Changes in our thought life. Like I said, maybe we need to consistently listen to something to change those thoughts and practice it, right? And then as I was thinking of the subject, I thought, you know what? With everything that we do in life, everything down to the most basic thing, our life is made up of all these activities of consistency that must be done. Our life is made up of all these activities of consistency that must be done. Let me give you an example. So we have to consistently brush our teeth. We do that consistently. That's something that must be done and that we do. We have to consistently eat. That's something that must be done, that we have to do. Maybe you don't consistently eat, but you should. We have to consistently drink water. Maybe you don't drink a lot of water, but it's something that we consistently need to do, right? So life is about consistency. We do some things like that. That's super basic things. Those are things of consistency. Now, when we want to move up a level and there's something we really want to do, it takes consistency, right? You want to learn a new language? We got to consistently be intentional about showing up and studying that language. Or in our business, we have to consistently show up and talk to people consistently, whatever that number is, or you're picking people, we need to consistently talk to, like Mr. Al Thomas talks about, talking to 3 people a day, or whatever your number is, 3, 5, or 10 people a day, consistently, for us to see something, right? Or if we're getting healthy, we start off consistently going for a walk. That's okay. We don't need to think about, oh, well, I can't work out like this, or like it's just walking. You're not going to compare yourself to that person that's been working out for 5 years and they're doing all this crazy stuff that maybe you can't do yet, but you're going to consistently start to walk. You're going to consistently start doing a little bit of weights so that you can get stronger, right? So when you think about consistency, it's all intertwined, in our lives. So there is this girl that I started following called Joyful Fitness, who when I was looking up stuff when it turned the new year, and I said, I want to encourage myself, I want to look up phrases that have to do with consistency. And I found this really great post that I like printed it all out because I said, wow, this is perfect. And she actually said it. And I said, wow, you're so right. So she said, consistency is key, but it's boring. And I was like, yeah, I like it. And says, if you can get through the boredom of consistency, you can achieve truly enormous goals. And I'm like, yeah, that's so right. And then this is the best. Things that are important for success and consistency, but they can be viewed as boring. And she put exercise, reading, journaling, mindful eating, morning routines, waking up and sleeping early, visualization and getting out in nature, etc. And I said, wow, those are all the things that we all try to attain and get better at. But that was just, I loved the honesty of it. Like, these are powerful things and we love to see it, but they're viewed as boring. And then she put hard truth. Most people want all the success, but absolutely don't want to put in the work. And that really hit me because I was trying to get back on doing meal prep and all this stuff and And then I read that and I'm like, so you want that certain type of stomach, but you don't want to put in the work to do the grocery shopping, to prepare the meals, to eat those during the week, but you want the result. Heather, do you? Wow. And I was like, wow, that hit me. And then I love how she put, why? Because we're human and it's in our nature to want to take the easy way out. That was something really good for me to know, that we're constantly fighting against wanting to take the easy way out. And that's why it's such a struggle to be consistent. And, oh, I really should exercise. I really should eat well. I really should talk to people. I really should. Well, I was trying to take the easy way out. And sometimes it's not so fun, right? These are really good things just to know, just to be 100% real with yourself and go, okay, I see where I'm at. Let's start. And then I really like how she said, if you want something more for your life, you need to stop making excuses and decide to do the work. I loved that because I think for me anyways, because I'm of that dolphin personality and I want everything to be fun. Fun, 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 fun. I just need it to be fun. If I'm going to go to work, it's got to be fun. If I'm going to teach a class, it's got to be fun. If I'm going to do anything, we got to put a little bit of fun into it, right? And that's good. That's good. When I go to work, got to have fun with my coworkers, put a little bit of fun in everything. That's fine. That is all good. But if you want to do something and you're waiting for it to be fun, that's not always going to happen early at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. You're not having fun. You just got to do it, right? I'm not always having fun making and preparing my food, but I have to set time aside to do it. I'm not having fun because I don't like being in the kitchen and I don't like cooking, but I want the results. So I got to do it, right? So also we wonder why we're stuck sometimes or why nothing is changing. And, I really learned something, how we can't fixate on the time frame that we think something should be done by. Have you ever said, okay, this goal or this thing should be done by this time, and you go for it, but then things don't always work out how we want it to, right? We just, if it doesn't get in that time frame, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We just need to keep working. So I hope that, I really want to encourage you in this call, because there's a lot of things that we're trying to rise up and get better at and strengthen our skills. But the consistency of it, it's hard work, but it's necessary, right? We just need to keep working. We got there yet. So then I thought, what if I shifted my perspective and I looked for progress instead of the finished product? Because so many times I'm looking for the finished product, and I keep looking at the time and I'm like, it's been this long, still hasn't happened. It still hasn't happened. It's been this long, still hasn't happened. Another month goes by. It's this many months and it still hasn't happened. It's this many days. It's this many years, maybe, in certain things, still hasn't happened. And I'm focused on it not happening, which is pretty negative, right? What if I focused on the journey, enjoying it, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's easy to do. It takes practice, right? Intentionally saying, enjoy the journey and seeing some of the progress that I've had. Doesn't matter how big or how small. Some of us have a problem with celebrating ourselves with progress, and we're like, it's just this. Celebrate the little victories because it is progress. We need that, right? So let's say, if you say I'm going to start working out, maybe you look at that week. Maybe you went for a walk twice a week, or maybe 3 times a week. Celebrate that. That's progress. Like, you weren't doing anything before. Now you walk twice a week. Did I work out consistently this week? Instead of comparing ourselves to somebody else. Awesome, great, celebrate that. Or you were focused on, I don't see this huge change. That's okay. You don't see a huge change, but what were you? I was consistent. This is awesome. Take any subject. It doesn't have to be working out, anything. You're building a healthy habit. That's a good thing. See how it's like you're kind of a little bit celebrating, like, this week I walked twice this week. Before I would do nothing, and I'm building a healthy habit. Let's see if I could do it again next week, 2 times this week, and start building that healthy habit. So important, right? Get excited about, I'm building a healthy habit, or I'm building this, whatever habit it is, or like I'm talking about meal prep. Did I make my meal prep? Did I go shopping? Yes, I did. Okay, now I'm making the stuff. Now it's all completed. I did it. I actually did that at the beginning of the year. I was like, it's done. I did it because I was dreading so much of going to the grocery store. Instead of being thankful that I can go to the grocery store and I can buy the food, I was dreading going because guess what? I was being lazy. I didn't want to do it, but I wanted the results, but I didn't want to go do the work that it took to do it. Okay. So I was excited. I'm like, I went to the store, I cooked it, I made it, and consistently been doing this. So it's amazing progress. I'm not where I want to be, but I've been consistently doing it intentionally, whether I felt like it or not, making it for me and for my husband, which for me, that is a huge deal. It was a big enough deal for me just to make it for me. But now I'm making it for both of us, which is awesome. Or maybe it's reading. Maybe you're like, I really should read more. So did you listen to your audio or read your book? Maybe you start off the same thing twice a week before it turns into every day, because you're starting to build up consistency, because that's hard for some of us to be consistent at something. Take your pick at, whatever it is. We talked about the walking, and saying, let's do it again next week, whatever it is, reading or peaking. Maybe you're, not consistent in peaking people, and you just don't compare yourself. Maybe there's someone that peaks 10 people a day. Don't say, oh, I can't do 10 people a day, then I might as well not do anything at all. Or my 2 people that I do a day, it's nothing. No, do like Mr. Al Thomas. If that's a challenge for you to do 3 people a day, do 3. Start with 3. It's progress. What were you doing before? Maybe you were all over the place. Maybe you just did once a week and every other week, but maybe do 2 a day, 2 a day, 2 a day, whatever it is. Okay. So, I was losing my place there. So let's just be okay with consistency being hard, consistency taking work. And I hope that this encourages, some of you guys to start being consistent in whatever that thing is that's hard for you to do, that you just start. And you just start off with a little bit, and you don't look to the left and you don't look to the right of who has been doing this for however long. That doesn't matter. What matters is what you're starting off to do. So hopefully you guys will join me in consistently working in the dark, like Mr. Chirali says, right? Working in the dark and building yourself up, building those consistency muscles in the business, right? Not putting so much pressure on you, having fun, but set that number for you, whatever it is. Don't compare your number to somebody else. You're just working on being consistent. Or maybe it's the exercise. You're just trying to be consistent. Or maybe it's changing your food. Don't compare yourself to someone else. Just start. What is you need to do for you? If you need help with that, you get a trainer to help you that for you. What is it for you so that you can be consistent? And then you can see as you're starting to do that, how you're slowly, with a quiet strength, leaving that mediocrity pack behind, with you just starting to be consistent. Do you know by just doing this that you are leaving mediocrity behind by being consistent in something? You're leaving that pack of people as you're working in the dark and being consistent in something. You're leaving that pack of mediocrity people behind. So join me in doing that. Whatever subject it is, let's go together. Let's leave mediocrity behind and be consistent. And then humbly accept those compliments when people compliment you of the work that you've done that now is being shown out in public. Humbly accept those compliments, because it happens. If you're consistent in something, you don't have to tell anybody. It shows, it comes out. Whatever serves you, it just happens. So I'm telling all of you ahead of time, if you take this on, get ready to humbly say thank you for whatever they compliment you on, for that consistency, and enjoy it and celebrate yourself. So happy Valentine's Day to you all. I hope this encouraged you to take some action in something that's hard for you to just start to be consistent at. You can do this. It's hard for all of us. It's boring for all of us, but it's necessary and it's powerful and it makes you a beast. You've seen our leaders. Look at our leaders. We're like, wow, because they're consistent. That's it. That's the magic. If you're ever wondering, how did you do this? How did you do that? The magic is consistency. That, like, last year, that's what clicked for me. I'm like, the magic's consistency. They just keep going. They just keep going, and they just keep doing the same thing, rain or shine, whether they want to or not, boring or not. That's it, you guys. That's it. That's the magic. So just start and let it be okay being hard, and let it be okay being what it is. So I'm excited for you guys, for whatever subject you're choosing to be consistent at. Have a great day, guys. That's what I have. Back to you, Mr. Thomas.